Samuel, Mazal Tov, on leading the service this evening so beautifully. And may I add thank you for your patience in being not quite the last bar mitzvah in your group, but almost the last, this Shabbat coming right at the end of the academic year. I've been thinking about the central character in your Torah portion, Bilam. He is surrounded by a bevy of powerful and probably quite opinionated men. The king, who offers him silver and gold if he agrees to go and curse the Israelites, and so get rid of a people whom he dreads because he's afraid they'll defeat him in battle. Perhaps I can defeat them first, he says, and so drive them out of my land. Then there are Bilam's colleagues, elders of Moab and Midian, who set out with him, dignitaries who convey the king's messages to Bilam. He is encompassed by fawning men looking to him to perform his magic as a diviner and prophet. I wondered, who is missing from this story? Are there any characters we might expect to appear in this fable, because your Torah portion is indeed a fable? Where, for example, are the women in this story? Where is Bilam's wife? Where are his children? Does he have any sons or daughters? Where is the king's consort, his queen? Are the dignitaries and envoys all men? Are there no women who feature in this strange story of a man who is commanded by King Balak of Moab to go and put his curse on the Israelites? Of course, there is one significant female in this story, and that is the ass, Bilam's ass. And the Torah makes it very clear that she is a female ass. She is not a chamor, which is the usual word for a donkey, but she is an aton, a she-ass. It is the ass who is the first to see the angel of God standing in the way. She swerves from the road to avoid bumping into the angel. She must suffer from Bilam's repeated beating of her. When the angel stations himself in a lane between the vineyards, she presses herself against the wall and squeezes Bilam's foot against the wall, and he beats her again. And then she lies down under Bilam and once again must suffer his anger, his abuse, and violence against her. She is clearly trying to communicate something to Bilam, but the prophet, the so-called wise seer, is so obtuse, so caught up with his own affairs, puffed up with pride and self-importance as a hobnobber with the great and the good, that he simply ignores the she-ass's warnings. Not only does she see the angel of God on the road, but then God gives her the gift of speech. "What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times, she says. She dares to respond to the abusive behavior of her master with a question, and in so doing, she humiliates Bilam. The she-ass, a creature characterized as patient, stubborn, sometimes stupid, an animal that serves humankind as a beast of burden, is ennobled by God and defended by God, who asks Bilam, "Why have you beaten your ass these 3 times?" It is this female presence in the story that opens our eyes to the qualities we might have expected from a human with the title of prophet and seer. She's a creature of sensory perception. She sees, she hears, she feels pain as she is beaten. She has understanding, and there is a certain nobility to her in the way she speaks to Bilam. And it seems to me that she is in some way connected with all the other she-asses mentioned in Tanakh. When Avram's wife Sarai is abducted and taken into Pharaoh's palace in Egypt, Avram finds himself acquiring great wealth in the form of sheep, oxen, camels, and, yes, you guessed it, she-asses. And these she-asses become witnesses to the suffering and injustice shown to Sarai. She's a hostage in Pharaoh's court, while Avram seems powerless to rescue his wife. And on the night before Jacob is due to meet his brother Esau after a period of 20 years' absence from his homeland, Jacob is terrified that his brother will kill him for stealing the blessing reserved for the older son. Among the multitude of gifts he prepares to give to Esau are 20 she-asses, once again witnesses to Jacob's fear and, later on, to the reconciliation between the two brothers. And in the book of Samuel, Saul's father discovers that one of his she-asses has gone astray, and he sends his son to go and search for her. Together with one of his father's servants, they set out to look for her, traversing the country, but they are unable to find her. Eventually, Saul says to the servant, "We better go back home, or else my father will stop worrying about the she-ass and start worrying about us." The servant tells Saul that there is a man of God in a nearby town and suggests they go and inquire of him as to the whereabouts of the she-ass. Saul agrees, and it is there that they encounter Samuel, your namesake, who announces that Saul will become the first king of Israel, and Samuel proceeds to anoint Saul with oil. "As for the she-asses," says Samuel, "don't worry about them, for they have been found." So who was this she-ass who led Saul to Samuel to be anointed king over Israel? Was it perhaps Bilam's she-ass in another manifestation, or the same she-ass acquired by Saul's father after the episode with Bilam? These animals, these she-asses, seem to be placed in the Torah with a specific purpose as witnesses at crucial moments in our mythic history, in times of suffering, moral blindness, historic moments of change. And we wonder, what would she have said? What truths would she have uttered? How would she have helped human beings to walk on the right side of history? The purpose of a fable is moral. It teaches us something about what it means to be honorable, principled, moral, decent, and upright, people of integrity and humility. In the story of Bilam, the she-ass occupies this role. She is perceptive. She bears suffering with patience. She is visionary. She traverses boundaries in her attempt to communicate with her master. Above all, the she-ass personifies wisdom in the same way that the book of Proverbs personifies wisdom as a woman, a figure of understanding, nobility, uprightness, truth, justice, intelligence, knowledge, and humility. The she-ass is often a silent witness in so many stories to suffering, fear, to reconciliation, the anointing of kings, even the coming of the Messiah in the book of Zechariah, a king who comes in humility, riding on a donkey, foaled by, you guessed it, a she-ass. Bilam's she-ass utters a cry to all humanity to learn all these things, to listen to the voice of the one who is greater than ourselves, and to aspire to these qualities that make us kinder, more gentle, more humble human beings.